Hi, you guys. Let's talk season 12, episode 16. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. As almost weekly, you'll never know what you're going to get on my channel or related to me. Frankly, it just is always shocking even to me living this life I live. But let me just tell you something. I did receive a letter, a cease and desist from a Chicago attorney representing Diana Jenkins, Neuro, and D Empire. And they requested certain content from my YouTube page to be removed, and also an episode that I did with Crazy Days and Nights Enty. It was a two-parter Diana Jenkins episode. So I did remove that content, and I would like to have a moment of silence for my art because I had to take my art down, and you know how hard I work on it. So, moment of silence. Okay, we're back. Now let's make some new content, shall we? And let's not dwell upon negativity. Let's keep things nice and positive, shall we? There's a lot of negativity on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills right now, and I think the fans are a little bit tired of it, honestly. So first of all, I want to play you something, and I want you to imagine why I'm playing it. Okay? That's a fun game. Let's start with that.
You can get out
on the show.
You are?
Yeah, because hello, we do pop culture, we do news. It's my job.
I know, but I'm like, I wonder if you can get out of it because you're friends with.
Oh, I just tried. The producer goes, "Do you have anything else to say?" I'm like, I'm going on a trip. We do pop culture, we do news. It's my job.
I know, but I'm like, I wonder if you can get out of it because you're friends with.
Oh, I just tried. The producer goes, "Do you have anything else to say?" I'm like,
Do I have to go out there and say how I feel on my show? Absolutely. But this episode of The Real will not air before the Aspen trip, so I hope we can have a good time until she finds out.
By the way, you guys, I wanted you to know that I have now had no alcohol for 36 days. I wonder if you can see it in my face. Not yet, this is a filter, but like later I'll show you in the video what I look like without this snake on my head. And I'm curious if you see a difference. I'm trying to do a cleanse right now to restart my liver perfectly. Yay! I heard that your liver restarts after 60 days, like a little more, but you get the drift. So I'm trying to do that to get some of the health benefits at my old ass age. Okay, let's see. Oh, I wanted to tell you that in the Patreon, there's always answers to everything that you're usually asking on here. Just so you know, in case you're curious. Big shout out to Crystal's shirt and this confessional, very inspiring. Inspired my dress today. By the way, for you guys who quit at 14 minutes, you're going to probably want to not do that today. You might miss something very important. You know how I am. What do you think of this? This jacket reminded me of Aspen. This is Meredith Marks' jacket she designed. I love it so much. It's got like fake faux, really soft pink fur in it. Anyway, thank you, Meredith, for sending me this jacket, which I couldn't otherwise afford. I will be wearing it during my Salt Lake City coverage. Loves. Okay, so anywho, back to the point. Kyle is taking the women to Aspen, and the agency rents this extra house to accommodate the women. Now, Dorit is separated from Kyle, which is unusual. My gut on this, just so you guys know, the way that they showed Dorit talking about, you know, how she was trying to be a good friend and let it happen, and she doesn't normally not stay with Kyle. And the fact that they put that in the edit, to me, says that the producers made Dorit stay against her will, not with Kyle for the purposes of the show. I haven't figured out yet what that purpose was. They may have felt that Dorit would get in between some drama that we're about to see. And so they will remove a cast member if they think that cast member might interfere with something they're hoping is going to happen. They'll like remove them from the circumstance to a degree. You know, so like if they think, oh, this person's gonna do this to step up or protect someone, they'll take them out of the scene or make it so they're not there. So it's really, I know, it's so dark, but whatever. So Dorit's separated. So when you guys are watching the upcoming episodes, try to figure out why they had Dorit stay at a separate house from Kyle, because I don't think it's that their friendship has had an issue. If anything, maybe Mauricio and PK have had some strain, but I'm sure it wouldn't impact Dorit and Kyle's friendship. Now, there was a very strange scene between Dorit and PK where PK's leaving for London, and Dorit's like, you would come and protect me wherever I am. And, PK like hesitates and says all this other stuff, but then eventually gets to the right answer, which is, yes, of course I would come to you. I thought it was interesting that they inserted this information into the episode, only because we know that later Kathy goes on social media and requests Rick save her while she's in Aspen, come get me. So very much mirroring this conversation that PK and Dorit have about Mexico, where unbeknownst to us, Dorit has asked PK to come save her in Mexico. We don't really see, I don't know, that felt like a little bit of a disconnect in the edit, but I know why they put it in. They didn't put it in for the past, they put it for the future of what we're going to see, because Kathy ends up doing that. That's my gut. That's my feeling on that. One of my patrons who also listens to Enty at Crazy Days and Nights, love you, Enty. She heard on his show that it's possible that maybe Mauricio's company, the agency, is actually paying a percentage of some way they make money to Bravo, which is why Bravo's allowing them to promote the agency so much on the show, integrated into it. Or perhaps they pay a placement fee. I don't know. It's a cleaner transaction. But that was something that Enty felt, that he felt was happening. So I thought I'd mention it here just because, again, we see the agency mentioned, as the thing that rented the house. In the past, when they've said the agency has done that, it hasn't really been true. So in this case, I wonder if it is. Nothing at all happens really at Dorit, Garcelle, and Sutton's location. I think Cherie may be staying there too. Everything's happening at Kyle's house. Why? Well, Kathy shows up. They all end up there. And there's been this undertone about Erika's earrings and the fact that she's refusing to return them. At this time, what's happened is the trustee has said that she can show and prove to a court that the earrings came from Girardi Keys's account, which is there was actually evidence that showed that. And the trustee, therefore, was able to demonstrate to a court that she shouldn't keep the earrings, as they really should belong to the trustee liquidating Girardi Keys. A trustee has a certain amount of time to go back and make claims on assets bought when somebody goes into a bankruptcy if they feel like something was done inappropriately. So that's exactly what the trustee did. And so Erika did return the earrings to court where they were held in escrow, and they still are, because what's happened since then is Erika lost to the trustee. The trustee got the earrings and was getting ready to liquidate them. But then Erika Jane Girardi filed an appeal so that she could keep the earrings. So now the earrings remain locked up in court until the full matter can be heard in the appeal. By the way, Erika wears the earrings in this season before she's turned them in. So those are they're like these square giant diamonds. And you see Rena's house, Erika says Sutton's a liability to Garcelle that day. She's wearing the big Cartier ring. That's the day you see the earrings on that episode. I have it mentioned in that one if you want to go watch that recap for that. Anywho, so here we are. Kathy has said, I haven't slept in days. I'm exhausted. She's actually so down to earth sounding, very relatable. Kathy Hilton comes off in this episode. There was a week where they didn't air the show and they were supposed to. In fact, the cast members were waiting for their episode and it never came, and they were shocked. And so a lot of people speculated that maybe they were re-editing the Aspen trip to be different, maybe to show Kathy in a fairer light, or maybe to remove something because they've had a warning from a lawyer or something. This was what was being speculated. There's a really important and weird dynamic with Kathy Hilton and Kyle in this episode. Number one, we established that Kyle has not invited Kathy Hilton to her house in 3 years in Aspen, which is saying a lot. You also can see the tension between Mauricio and Kathy of like, nothing is ever good enough for Kathy. She's always going to be better. And Mauricio is always like struggling to feel good enough, okay? And that definitely relates back to his falling out with Rick Hilton, which if you don't know what that was about, it was basically that Rick allegedly made Mauricio feel as though he was never going to be a partner in Rick's company or be good enough. I guess the way you could sum it up is that Mauricio was mentored by Rick Hilton and introduced into real estate. And then Mauricio felt like Rick was never going to let him be as good as Rick, or maybe even better, that he was always going to be looked at as like Kyle's husband and like maybe a lower real estate agent. And then Mauricio suddenly, in a kind of a scandalous way, abruptly leaves Kathy Hilton's husband's real estate firm and takes some agents with him, which in real estate's like a really negative thing to do. It's like poaching. That's the story. I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know what actually really went down, but that has been how it's been recorded out in the press. By the way, we know when at least PK and Dorit recorded that it was January 25th because Dorit is standing next to her security monitoring system and it has the date on it. So I thought that might be interesting to the people who like to sleuth. Now we get to the really fun part, which is the unfollowing of people. Garcelle and Sutton unfollow Erika. Kyle still has a chip on her shoulder, obviously, from when Garcelle unfollowed her, right? And all these women are trying to say that they don't care and they're so old it doesn't matter. But in truth, when celebrities unfollow each other, it's very symbolic and meaningful and everyone knows it. And so all of their attempts in this episode to try to downplay it and say to the fans, oh, this is like, you know, they're anticipating that the fans would think little of them if they said that was a big deal. Okay, so they're trying to play to the fans in this episode, all the women. But the reality is, it is a big deal when you're a celebrity and another celebrity unfollows you because they know the world is watching. So so I was really hoping someone would be honest about that, but no one was. And so anyway, that annoyed me. I love that Crystal said that Erika needs to give up those earrings. And I thought that was really interesting that Bravo kept that in the edit. Erika's comment that Aspen was a place that people go when they've made it, and then she's like, I used to go on my private jet all the time, was really strange. It sounded tone deaf. It was almost like, well, then why are you there? Because you certainly never made it. You lived off your husband's money, and you never even made it as a musician. So, like, why are you saying, like, I was able to fly in on my jet, and that means I made it like the other people in Aspen? To me, I thought that was so belittling to Aspen. Because first of all, Aspen's made up of a lot more than just people who are rich and trendy and like to ski. Like, it's more than that. I mean, have you made it, Erika? I think you need to do some soul searching on this one, sweetheart. Yeah. By the way, you guys, Aspen's okay. I mean, you know, it's a little old school. There's better places to go. Just saying. By the way, did you guys see that Garcelle's shooting with Lisa Vanderpump on Vanderpump Rules? I'm sure it's because her son's going to be on the show. So excited to have him join the cast of Vanderpump Rules, Garcelle's kid. Good for you, sweetie. I thought it was funny that Kathy was like, there's 3 things like you just don't call people. 1 is a liar, 2 is a thief, and 3 is a pedophile. And I got that, you know, that's from Michael Jackson. That's totally like her tapping her Michael Jackson days. And I have a feeling Kathy Hilton is pretty up on all the different social media theories out there. You know, she seems like she's clueless, but I know, you know, Paris and Nikki have their finger on the pulse, and they're definitely telling her what people are saying about probably people she knows and socializes with, so she's kind of more aware of how things appear to people in the fan world. So there's this weird thing with Kathy where one minute you're like, wow, she's so down to earth. And then the next minute, Kyle's showing how high maintenance she is, and the edit does that she's asking for all of these things to be comfortable. But what occurred to me was Kathy probably puts a lot of care into making sure when people come to her house that they have everything they need. And I don't think Kyle prioritizes entertaining in the same way Kathy Hilton does. So I think that's the disconnect. I mean, I would rather be at Kathy's house than Kyle's house, just saying. Now, I say that knowing that something really bad is going to happen or come out about Kathy next week, but I'm not ready to comment on that yet. And we've already talked about it a lot in previous episode recaps. Now let's listen to this.
I'll be first to admit it. I'm high maintenance.
She doesn't like her back towards like doors. She likes her back against a wall. Do the windows open and doors to get air in here? Is there a long hanging place?
There's only one there.
Can they make the closet taller?
I'm very happy I'm staying in hotel. I'm protecting them from me.
We get to the scene where Sutton is bullied by Kyle. Kyle's like, you need to be honest. I mean, it was just really strange. And again, she's like manhandling Sutton. It seems to happen only when Kyle's hammered. And I don't know, some of the fans think she's trying to get a secret message to Sutton. And it's coming off like she's manhandling Sutton, but it really does come off awful in the edit. So if that's what's happening, production's not doing her any favors right now. If that is her secretly trying to help Sutton. But if it isn't her secretly trying to help Sutton, and that's really the way she's behaving towards Sutton off camera, it's like really awful. I was like, what is happening here? And of course, a cast member has become very close with Erika Jane Girardi. And so they call Sutton to see you next Tuesday, and they're laughing and laughing.
That was not okay. That was not okay.
Let her go.
Diana left my house. I'm thinking, oh, wow, she's going to give Sutton a chance. This is the next chance. But, I mean, I think with Diana, words, actions are completely different.
I want to go. I want to go.
Stop.
I'm not being dramatic. I've just had enough.
That's a lot.
Sometimes it's hard to speak your mind in this group. People get upset, they're emotional. This was not intentional. But Diana, she's saying what she thinks and feels. Someone can say she's being mean, but I can respect her being honest.
Said the shit stir who started the whole thing. Awful. She's really crying and hurt in that scene. I'm telling you, I really, really have a sense of what it's like when someone's bullshitting on the show or really feeling something. And that was real. And I just want to say, Sutton, don't be ashamed of these women have stuff out in the public eye everywhere. On Reddit, in the newspaper, in your face, everywhere. And you have no reason to be ashamed ever about calling it out to the fans that want to talk about it anyway, because they're all reading it too. And they all want to know if it's real or if it isn't, or what their real response is doing it. You're doing them a favor by calling this stuff out for the fans that can't. And I'm sorry that you got yelled at by these women who obviously feel so intimidated by the fact that you're able to be you, awkward, not speaking correctly, whether you drink or you don't, that you're still embraced by the fans, because at the end of the day, the women on this show have egos the size of an entire country, and they don't like when someone's more popular than them. So keep it together and remember who the real See You Next Tuesdays are. I don't know why I relate so much to that scene, but I do. Yesterday in particular. What can I say, guys? Life is unfair. The people with power and money rule everything, and the little bebops like me, well, we're just picking up the scraps. Anyway, listen, love you. Thinking about all of you. Thank you for all of the nice, kind words that I've received over the last few days. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. You never know what's going to happen on my channel, and you never know when something may come and may go just like that.